Gratitude. That's what we're talking about today. And what I'm going to tell you is going to help you think about it in a completely different way. And you're saying, I know what gratitude is. It's when you're thankful or appreciative for something that you've received. But that doesn't really scratch the surface. We're going to dig a lot deeper into gratitude, what it means, how it can help you to open your heart and lead to spiritual growth, increase joy. You can get a greater understanding of God's plan and how receiving blessings is even related to your gratitude. Welcome to Drawing the Spirit, where art therapy meets your soul. I'm Annice, your host, and I'm super glad that you're here with me today. I'm excited about our topic today, and before we begin, though, let's do some grounding exercises of just a few deep breaths. So just slowly inhale air in through your nose, slowly out through your mouth. Keep breathing slowly. We don't want anyone passing out, going too fast. While you are breathing, slowly breathing, think about how practicing gratitude can help you to heal from loss, disappointment, jealousy, coveting, and anything else that you can think of that you might need to heal. One more breath, in through the nose and out. That feels good. Now we're relaxed and focused, and we have our intention as to what we're going to learn. The first thing I'd like to be able to say is the truth, which isn't, is that gratitude is a verb. It really isn't. It's technically a noun, but I think it should be a verb because it's something we should put into action, something we should do, and not just feel it, but when you feel gratitude, that you do something with it, like faith. And because many people don't recognize their blessings that God gives them. They don't understand them because they don't really understand God's plans for their lives. So that might be something you might want to work on too. If God gives you a gift or a blessing and you never use it, you never do anything with it, then are you really grateful for what He has given you if it just sits there? We need to be excited about our answered prayers, even when they don't look like what we think they should. And we should never be disappointed in what God gives to us. An example would be, I was in a crowd one day, and there was a young mother sitting on a bench with a baby stroller next to her. The look of love on her face, she was just beaming. She was looking down into that stroller, and so I was like, well, I got to see this baby. And I kind of, leaned over a little bit, and certainly there was a beautiful baby boy in there. But he had a cleft palate. If you know what those are, it goes from the mouth up to the nose. And I looked at the dad, and he just looked away. But that mother, she had such joy and contentment on her face that I was so touched by the love that I saw in her face. And at that time, God gave me a prompting to give her a message. He wanted her to know that her beautiful child would always be a blessing. And He wanted me to tell her that God doesn't give special children like that to just anybody. That He knew her heart, and He knew that she would love that child and give him a really good life. And I'm sure she could use some kind words and encouragement, because I know how people can be cruel. They may say they're well-meaning, but, they can say some unkind things. And I know this because I've met a lot of mothers with special children. And people feel sorry for them. But they feel blessed. They see their children as gifts from God and a blessing, and they're grateful for them. They put their gratitude into action by exalting their children, therefore glorifying God. And when I say exalting their children, I mean they don't hide them away. They don't leave them at home because they're ashamed or embarrassed of them, because they weren't. They don't put them into institutions. I mean, sometimes people might, and I understand that, and I don't want to offend anyone. But if it's possible not to, many choose not to. And they they put their children out front where their lights can shine, where people can see them and meet them and be blessed by them. And many of them have a lot of medical issues, so they make sure they get those medical issues taken care of and that they get a good education. And many of the moms would enroll their children in extra classes that would give those children opportunities and skills so that they could become the people they were supposed to be and fulfill their purpose, and to know that they have value, because they do, the same as anybody else. And we can't treat God's gifts and blessings as not being good enough. We need to take those gifts, those blessings, and honor them and be proud no matter what they are and no matter how different they might be from what you expected or what someone else might have received. Sometimes people look at gifts as just second best to someone else's, but it could be a special blessing, and you may be able to see it if you look through your spiritual eyes and be grateful to God. You'll be able to see that it really is a special gift that God has given you. God creates people different with different abilities and skills. And when I taught special education children, their different ways of processing information and learning and communicating was considered a disability and a disorder. But really, nothing was further from the truth, because many of their differences made them excel in so many different ways. And here's an example. Do you know what company deliberately searches out and hires people with dyslexia? And if you recall, dyslexia is a condition that people have. My cat's running around in here like crazy. Dyslexia is a condition where people will tend to, when they're reading, their letters may look backwards, some of them. And so do you know who that company is? NASA. NASA, our space program, hires about 30 to 40% of their employees have dyslexia. And you're thinking, well, why would they want people with dyslexia? Well, here's really, dyslexia is more of a superpower than it is a disorder, because we see when we're reading a paper, it's flat. Here's a paper. It's flat. We're just seeing words, a letter. They are seeing, not all of them, but many of them, see a three-dimensional sphere. Pretty cool. They can see all different angles. And this is one of the things that NASA wants, because that way of thinking allows them to be very rapid with problem solving and extremely accurate. And there's also a lot of other facets to this disorder as well that makes NASA just seek these people out to hire them. And I just think that's pretty cool myself. Because many people I've known as an adult, they try to hide the fact they have dyslexia because they think, well, my brain doesn't work as well as everyone else's. Fact of the matter is, their brain works better because they have these skills, these special skills, or superpowers, as I like to call them. So, you know, it's just why we need to be grateful to God for the way He made us, because there's a reason for it. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18, it says, "In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Jesus Christ concerning you." This means that we should not only be grateful for what we receive, but what we don't receive. And I know that sounds kind of strange, but sometimes we may receive answers much later than when we prayed for something, or sometimes we may not receive them at all. And we just have to trust that God knows what is right for us. And maybe sometimes you're praying and praying and praying, and you feel like God must not be listening. And maybe you've waited a long time to have children and it's just not happening. Maybe you've prayed for that mate so you could get married and they're just nowhere in sight. Maybe you've wanted a new job or a promotion, and year after year you get passed over. Perhaps there's a new house that you've been longing for, and it's just not within your reach. And at the same time, you're always getting invitations to go to weddings and baby showers and housewarming parties and all kinds of things like that. And it just kind of is a sore spot with you because, you see people getting all the things that you've prayed so long and so hard for. And you may ask God, why are you doing this to me? Because it seems it's just making it all worse. But think about this. Maybe He's just giving us an opportunity to learn and grow and prepare to receive our blessings in the future. And I know it's hard to be grateful. And some people may feel jealous and covet what other people are getting. But it's destructive thinking when you covet. It goes against the teachings in the scripture because we need to give thanks for everything, and we're not supposed to covet. God gave me a wonderful gift of understanding the power of love and gratitude when we don't get the sincere desires of our hearts. I didn't get the sincere desire of my heart. He blessed me in a different way. And what I'm going to tell you about, I think will help you too in whatever circumstance you're in. These simple actions will build a greater understanding of God and His ways, and your heart will be expanded and changed in ways that you probably never thought possible. That's what happened to me. After surgery, I couldn't have children, and I was really sad about that because I would have loved to have had a family of my own. And then after that, it seemed like I was always getting invitations to go to baby showers, and I went, but it was very hard because I would try not to think about, well, this is great, but it's never going to happen to me. But this is how I truly found peace with my lack and joy for other people. I prayed fervently and sincerely for God to help me to be grateful for the blessings of other people. I tried to get my eyes off myself. I truly, truly wanted to feel joy for them as if it were my own. I said I wasn't going to cry for this, I'm sorry, but it was an emotional time. And I'm not talking about fake happiness, pretending that you're happy. I mean sincere happiness and joy for other people. And this is what you can do when you get that wedding invitation. Maybe you've had a divorce or a breakup, or you've just never found anyone to marry at all, or the baby shower or the housewarming or whatever it is that you're having difficulty, accepting. This is what you do. You go shopping. I don't mean shopping therapy. It's just with every invitation, there's a gift involved. You have to go get a gift. So you look at the registries, either online or go to the stores, and you find something really, really nice that you can afford. Don't just buy something small or just, something that just says, okay, here, I got you something. Here's a gift. Usually, like if it's a baby shower, almost always there's a car seat and a stroller, and they're the most expensive items. If you can afford it, get one of those. Think about when you're looking at the car seats, what's most important is that it's safe. So get the one that's the most safe and the best. If it's a stroller, get the one with all the bells and whistles that will fold down nicely in the car, have all kinds of storage and all kinds of stuff. You just buy what you would buy if it were your baby. Think about that. That's your mindset. Buy what you would buy if that were for your wedding gift. And so on. And remind yourself while you're doing this, you're working on your heart. You are trying to open your heart, fill it with joy for other people, and get your mind off your own problems, because you can't do anything about them anyway. God's handling that. Let Him handle it, and you focus on this. And don't forget the heartfelt card. get a nice card and do not just sign your name. No shortcuts. You want to put a very nice, heartfelt message in that card. And think about this as a test of your heart's true ability to love. Because this is basically what we're talking about. It's not about one person getting this or that or somebody not getting this. It's not about that at all. It's about the condition of your heart. And can you truly love and be happy for other people even though you're not getting something? And so think about this as a test. So you want to pass this test so that you can grow and move forward. And God will reward you for it. Think of what happened in the Bible to Job. Now, he lost everything. He lost his family, everything he owned, and even his health. And despite all the losses and temptations for Satan, he still praised God. He would not turn his back on God. He loved God. He still was grateful for him and all that he had done for him, even though he had lost everything pretty much. But the one thing that couldn't be taken away from him was his heart, what was in his heart. Satan could tempt him all he wanted, but he couldn't take his life. And actually his wife was saved too for that reason, because when you get married, you're one person. So he couldn't, kill Job, and he couldn't take what was in his heart. And so the things that he had in his heart was his love for God and his faithfulness to him. And because he remained so faithful and grateful for all that he felt he still had, God restored everything to him and then increased it in addition. So Job certainly passed the test. And don't think about it as punishment either if you're not getting something that you've prayed for so long. Because that was the same thing with Job. Even his friends kept asking him, what did you do, to be punished this way? And Job kept insisting he didn't commit any sins. So recognize that suffering isn't about punishment, but it can lead to growth and enlightenment, just like what happened to Job. And another thought, when you receive your invitation, think about this. You were invited to be a part of someone's special event, probably the most special event in their life, having their baby. Nothing's more special than bringing a new life into the world. And you were asked to be a part of it. And when you did participate, you helped that baby to come into the world where it was going to be safe and happy and provided for. With that marriage, the same thing. Marriage is a very sacred thing. And you were asked to be a part of that. And when you joyfully bought that gift and wrote that card and wished them joy and prayed for their happiness and joy, then you did a really good thing, not just for them, but for your heart. And pray for, whatever other people getting the jobs in the house or whatever else that would be involved here in your scenario. But do the best that you can with the part that you were asked to play in their lives. And I promise God will bless you for it if you are sincere. And if you can't be, just pray and ask Him to help you. But we need to love others and want the best for them and show kindness regardless of what's happening in our lives. See, gratitude helped me to not only come to terms with not being able to have children, but it finally helped me to understand the blessings that God had in store for me. He gave me a calling to be a teacher. And I felt like I raised hundreds of children in my years of teaching, especially when I worked at an orphanage school. The children there did not have any mothers, and I didn't have children, so God matched us up perfectly. And it was my privilege to teach them and to love them and to pray for them as a mother would have. And I was very grateful because I realized that God had the special blessing for me of caring for other people's children. And I realized then that that was my purpose in life and that was God's plan. And it's important to know those two things as well. There's a few, actually 3, additional actions to build gratitude. First of all, you want to align your will with God, and don't do it lightly. If you can't do it, then don't, because it's serious. In Proverbs 3, 5 through 6 verses, that promises guidance when trusting God completely rather than relying on our own understanding. So ask God for what you need to know and to learn. This means that you're going to trust Him to do what is best for you and everyone else in His time. The second one, we are to love one another. In Matthew 22:39, Jesus teaches us that the second greatest commandment is to love thy neighbor. So we are commanded to love one another, and we want people to be happy in their blessings instead of diminishing their joy with our murmurings about our lack of favor. We don't want to do that to them because we wouldn't want them to do that to us. And the third one, just pray for guidance and pray for self-reflection as to why you're having problems with being happy for other people. Ask God to show you why or what you can do about it, and just pray, and He will give you those answers and that help that you need if that's something you're having an issue with. And because you want to pass those tests that God is giving you so that He can bless you. So hurry up and do it. And remember, we don't know what God's going to bless us with, so we just have to be grateful for all things. That when we learn God's ways, and we know that when we can be grateful and truly happy for other people, that our hearts are going to be open and filled with joy. That heart's going to just expand. It's going to be wonderful. Remember Job and how he lost everything but what was in his heart. So make sure that your heart is filled with love, faith, joy, gratitudes, and other gifts of the Spirit. Don't be tempted to be jealous. Don't do it. Just pray, get rid of it. When you're being grateful, it's harder to be jealous. So do that. And know that God does not give inferior gifts. He doesn't bless us with anything but His best. We only have to see the gifts and blessings we receive through those spiritual eyes and exalt them for the glory of God. And that's the power and the blessing of gratitude. I hope I fulfilled my promise and helped you to see it in a different way. And I hope that the message was helpful to you. And please share it with other people that may need it. We do have an art therapy activity, but it's not going to be on this video because this one was going to be a little long. I made a separate video, and I think I'm going to start doing that anyway. Put the art therapy activities on a separate video. So if you don't have time to watch everything, then you can, have the 2 videos to do that. And this is what we're going to be making. This is a doodle art of the word gratitude. And so you will need your sketch pad and your markers. If you don't have that, just a piece of copy paper and a pen or a pencil will work for this. So I will see you there. And it's called episode 2B. This is episode 2A. So episode 2B for the power of gratitude will be the name of the art therapy one. And we'll get to make this. It's like this. Until next time, stay awesome.